How challenging have you made it to hit the platinum trophy on the PlayStation or get 1,000 gamer score on the 360?
You want to talk
Okay.
to that?
It requires a very specific playthrough, or as Warren likes to say, 2.5 individual playthroughs. So you're going to replay the game multiple times because you need to see certain things, you need to trigger certain things, you have certain hidden events that are only for the people who like to do things the good way, and only certain events that like to do things the thinner way. But it can physically be done.
I found this out this morning.
In one playthrough.
I did not know. I have talked to so many journalists now about this game and said, we think it takes 3 playthroughs to see and do everything. Paint, thinner, and multiplayer. And this guy told me this morning he did it in 1.
Yeah, it took us like 2 months to figure it out.
Kidding?
It took us like, we seriously had sheets of like, all right, don't do this, make sure you do this at this point. And we have like a full little list of things you need to do in order to hit it. And we're never going to show that to anybody. But it exists and you can do
We
it.
might someday, don't say that. It's like, no, look, it was possible to get through Deus Ex without ever killing a single character, which everybody on the team thought was impossible. A player figured out how to get through that game. We thought there were 3 people who had to die for the story to work. And a player figured out how to get through all of Deus Ex without killing anybody. One of the guys he's still working at Junction Point now, but when we were working together at Looking Glass, he got through Thief 3 without ever being seen by anybody, okay? Another one of these guys, one of our testers, got through Deus Ex without ever using a weapon, even once, ever, okay? I mean, there are extreme playthroughs where people figure out how to do stuff that even people on the team think can't be done. And for most developers, that's a bug. And for me, that's when I know we're ready to ship it. You know, like when players figure out how to do stuff that's impossible. What's better than that? I mean, for a game that's, I mean, interactive storytelling. I mean, come on. If your story doesn't allow players to do stuff, to figure stuff out, to genuinely figure out what to do and how to do it, how interactive is it really? You know, go make a movie. So I'm still freaked out.
It's tough.
One
It's tough, but it can be done.
So we may actually publish that someday. You're going to publish it to me then. Anything else? Oh, geez.
I know, Kellen.
No, that's fine. Don't worry. We'll get it.
Are you guys going to do another iOS app like you did with the original Epic Mickey?
Let me give you a no comment on that too.
Okay.
Sorry.
No worries.
I was just gonna ask, what's probably I guess obviously it's been a fun experience working at Disney with all this, but what was the best thing that you can take away from this whole experience working at Disney from all the past games that you've worked on that have been so different in that kind of styling sense and that design? You know, what's
Well, no one's asked me that before. I don't have like a one answer for you. Let me sort of riff a little bit. Maybe I'll figure something out anyway. Working with the archives has been amazing. I mean, just having access to these people who live, eat, sleep, and breathe Disney history at a level that makes me look like an amateur is pretty amazing. And just, I mean, I'm really big on touching history. I just love that stuff. I mean, when I was a kid, I sat in every pew in Trinity Church, so I could say I sat where George Washington sat, you know. And when I went to the Biograph Theater in Chicago for the first time, I sat in every seat, so I could say I sat in the seat that John Dillinger sat in before he got shot, right? And so, like, touching history, pretty amazing. That was right up there. You know, we got to, like, I mean, while we were working on this game, the archives folks found a lost Oswald cartoon. I mean, there were 26 cartoons made. And there were only 13 of them survived, but they found a 14th. And so, like, I was the 6th person in the world to see that since 1928. I mean,
That's pretty awesome.
that's pretty awesome. That's pretty awesome. Yeah. So that was probably right up there.
The voice talent.
The voice. Yeah, that was the other thing I was going to mention. Actually, the other thing was, you know, it's great getting to work with the real voice of Mickey Mouse and the real voice of Goofy and all that. The real voice of Ian, I mean, all these characters. Those are the real voices. But Oswald never had a voice, and the Gremlins never had voices, and Hortensia, Oswald's girlfriend, never had a voice. There are a bunch of characters in here that we got to cast. We worked with the Disney character voice department, and they used our character descriptions, our psych profiles of the characters, our scripts as audition material. They asked us, what do you want this guy to, I mean, I got to do my silly little voice like this for Oswald the Lucky Rabbit, which is what I heard in my head when he told me, if I'm a silent film star and no one can talk, and I can't talk, no one's gonna talk, which is why no one talked in the first game. And I'm serious, that's one. And, I got to do that for the DCV folks, and we got to cast Frank Welker as the voice of Oswald forever. And Carrie Elwes is the voice of Gus Grimlin forever. Like if those characters, if you ever go to the park and you hear those characters, not that I'm saying you can now or you will, but if that ever happens or you see them on TV someday, a game did that. That's amazing. That's amazing. It's also pretty darn cool getting into the park before before it's open and seeing the rides with the lights on. By the way, don't ever do it because the magic is like it goes away about 2 feet away from you. But it's pretty cool. It's pretty cool. I got probably one of those. I don't know.
So just top 3. Yeah, that's good.
Yeah.
What were some of the things that Disney wouldn't let you do in your game?
There was one thing that Disney said no. I mean, literally one thing. And
Kill Mickey.
No. Okay, there are certain things I didn't even bother saying.
So that would make 2?
To be clear. There were several things that why would you, if you want to, there's certain things that if you want to do, you shouldn't be making a Mickey Mouse game. Okay? So let's leave those aside. This is totally weird, and I honestly have no idea why. I have a clue, but I really don't know why. I'm not allowed to show Mickey's teeth. Yeah, there you go. That's my expression. You should do that for all the cameras. So that was the one thing they said no about. We had lots of discussions. I mean, I'm trying to think how far back I want to go. I gave the design keynote at the Game Developers Conference in 2003 or 2004, so a long time ago. And it was about licenses and sequels, because I was sick of hearing people say you can't do anything creative in a licensed or sequel product. And I just think that's nonsense, it's bogus. And so to make a long story short, I basically, as part of that talk, I said, if you're making a licensed game, you have only one obligation. You have to find the heart of the thing you're recreating. Find out why that thing is worth moving to another medium, okay? Find the heart of it. And so we just had to find the heart of Mickey. I have my ideas. Trust me, folks at Disney have their ideas. And so it was a collaboration. You talk to the people who have Mickey on their paychecks and on their business cards, which is all of us as a note. And just go, hey, is this something that Mickey would do? Is this something that we should put in the game? What do you think? And so there were things like, I wanted to do an Alice in Wonderland world, and someone really smart at Disney said, Tim Burton's about to come out with a AAA blockbuster tentpole movie called Alice. And I said, yeah, do you really want to do an Alice world? No. I mean, I want to do some stuff. I still hope to do some stuff with rejected concepts for Tinkerbell. I mean, I've just got this picture in my head of like a dozen rejected Tinkerbells resenting the one who succeeded. Yeah. I've seen the concept art. I mean, I've held a dozen rejected concepts for Tinkerbell, and I was going to put those in the first game. And they said, we've got this fairies thing we're doing. Tween girls are really into like fairies these days, and we're making feature films, direct to video. We've got all these toys. And I said, maybe I shouldn't confuse people by doing my version of fairies. So there was a lot of that kind of stuff. There's all sorts of stuff I wanted to do that we didn't do, but the only time Disney said, no, you must not do this, was the teeth. They occasionally don't like the brow coming down too far, too. I don't know why. Again, they're very particular about the characters.
Did you ask why?
I think it's that he ends up looking very angry. I mean, I think that the brow is really, the geek world could go way higher. Mickey's a terrific actor, and a lot of his acting, none of his acting comes from his teeth. A lot of his acting comes from his brow. If you look at his cartoons, I mean, it's really important. And so I think it's just when you bring it down too low, it starts to look, mean and angry, and that's not part of the heart of the character. I mean, if you look at Mickey, whether it's 1928 or 1937 or 1942 or 1955 or 2012, I mean, he's smart, friendly, loyal, enthusiastic, a little mischievous, you know, a little overly confident, leader of the gang. I mean, there are just some things that he has always been. You know, whether he's appealing to 2-year-olds on Mickey's Clubhouse on TV, or families at the park where he, you know, signs autographs, or he's a mischief maker in Clock Cleaners in the 30s. Those things are consistent, you know, for the last 80 years, 84 years now. You don't mess with those, you know. And frankly, there was one part, in a weird sort of way, like Runaway Brain, maybe one of the best Mickey cartoons ever made. But it violated almost everything that people love about the character. And so the Disney fans got really upset about it, you know? It doesn't matter how funny it is, if you contradict, if you mess with people's childhoods, you're in trouble, okay? And so we had to find the heart of the character, and that involved a lot of collaboration and a lot of back and forth with a lot of people who care deeply about this character. Teeth, only no.
Did you ask why no teeth?
I think it's no, honestly, I didn't. No, I should find
I was
that out.
curious.
In fact, you know, I can't say that. I got smart and tried to get them to change their minds, and it just didn't work. There's just something about the teeth. Yeah.
So 2 years ago, when we were at the round table, it was 2 years ago at PAX, you
I'm
mentioned
not repeating
that-
myself too much, am I?
No. You mentioned though that every single thing had it was pulled from Disney history,
Yeah.
and like every single object you could find it. And you were mentioning before we started that it played in like there was a like meta game
Yeah.
online that people were finding. Did that play into Epic Mickey too?
Yeah, absolutely. It got way easier because the concept artists who really sort of lead the way with the designers, I guess, you know, in what goes in the world. They knew better than to make stuff up, you know. I think I probably said this last time we talked, but you know, this is the first Disney Epic Mickey game was the first time in my entire life I'd ever had to tell a team, be less creative. You know, like I wanted them to use Disney's history every chance they could. And after enough times of me saying, no, I don't care how cool that thing is, don't make it up. Find a real Disney lamp. Find a real Disney bench. Find a real Disney barrel. You know, they
sent
started
them to
doing
the
it.
parks too. Like
Oh,
concept
yeah.
and
Oh,
design
yeah,
totally
yeah,
went out to the parks
yeah.
with notepads and cameras and just taking pictures. And you
I
can
mean,
see the pictures in there.
we have pictures of like of the ground, you know, like wall textures. I mean,
Awning texture.
garbage can, you know, paint. I mean, it's just ridiculous.
Lanterns.
Yeah. So yeah, it's all there, and so far, no one's actually put together the complete where did that come from website for Disney Epic Mickey, Disney Epic Mickey 2. I'm hoping somebody will do that someday. I put out a call to action at Comic-Con in San Diego this year for someone to do that. You know, it's just, I mean, what a wonderful little like wiki thing to do, right?